Hi everyone, and welcome back on ADBLF show with Marla.
Hi.
And Terry.
Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm back.
We will be live for 2 hours with Marla, and this week we will take pictures and edit them in Lightroom CC. We'll be live for 2 hours. We also invite you to participate, create and share your pictures, the before and after. The theme of the day is portrait photography. If you want to check the rules, everything is in the contest tab. We want to see your pictures because at the end of the show, Marla will pick her favorite one, and you can win a full year, full Creative Cloud subscription. Okay, so Marla, thanks for coming. I mean, it's awesome.
Thank you.
We were talking about you with Nicole, because someone asked, how did you start, in becoming like a photographer and jumping in photography? Nicole said, being with Marla.
Yeah. Oh, really? I didn't even know that. Fluff, fluff.
Yeah.
Yeah, girl. Yeah, Nicole and I had worked together in Arizona, right? Yeah, on an ESPN shoot, which was one of my very first clients when I first graduated from school. So I went to Art Center College of Design, which is in Pasadena, California. It's a very commercial-based art school, which is one of the main reasons why I went. Because for me, photography was not all about the business, but it was very important to me that I made money on photography. So I never went in with the idea of like, I want to be a poor starving artist. So I definitely wanted to turn it into a business. But still create really great art, but be able to pay my rent. So I went to Art Center, which had a lot of business courses, and it also taught me how to light as well. So, and not a ton of art schools really teach lighting. And if you want to shoot for magazines and if you want to shoot for advertising, you got to know how to light. So, yeah, that's how I got started. Yeah.
So we have your website open if you want to, introduce your work to our friends.
So this is just kind of like a quick overview of some of the different work that I do. So this right here is a latex series. So I'm represented by a gallery in Los Angeles. This is a personal project that I actually started when I was in art school. These are real fetish girls that I found in the fetish community. And then we have the latex built in Europe. And then I have the outfit shipped over to me. So I was shooting this stuff in the studio in school, and it was pretty funny. I sometimes would have to build like a whole wall around the studio because all the teachers and the students would kind of come in to see what I was shooting because they were kind of intrigued by the project. I also shoot families, which is what this is. And then I do also stuff for, like I mentioned before, ESPN Magazine. So this is Chuck Liddell from Ultimate Fighting. And then I'll just kind of scroll down a little bit. This was also,
Sorry.
This was also for ESPN Magazine. So I do celebrity stuff. Let me see. When I lived in Los Angeles. So this was for People Magazine. These are the two Spock characters from Star Trek.
Oh, look at them.
And for that particular shot, I had about 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
2 minutes to get that shot.
Whoa.
Maybe less than that. And the magazine wanted them to be laughing, so that's a very difficult assignment. Where they want celebrities to be laughing, and you have 2 minutes to get it. So, and I got this shot. I got him laughing because I was very far away from them when I was shooting them. I was using a long lens, and he couldn't hear what I was saying when I was directing them. And so he kept looking at Zach, asking him, "What is she saying? What is she saying?" And then they both started laughing about it, and that's how I got that shot.
Nice.
So.
Remember, he was almost a guest at Adobe Max.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember that. He was almost one of our guests.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were super fun. And this is Sarah Silverman. She was the first celebrity I ever photographed.
Right?
Yeah, and then this is the latex work again. So anyways, that's just a quick little overview of all the different kinds of work I've done. But you can see that everything is very well lit. So I'll photograph kids, dogs, celebrities. It doesn't really matter, but I'll always light them.
And you have to make the dogs laugh too, right? It's part of the mission or the mandate when you.
Yeah. So I'll have to.
You have 2 minutes, and they have to laugh.
Oh my God! You have less than 2. These dogs are probably one of the more difficult subjects to ever photograph.
They just,
yeah.
Oh, you have one too.
Yeah, they have no concept of staying still.
Yeah. Especially when you shoot them out on location.
In low lights.
Right.
like when you shoot them out on location, they're running around and they're doing all sorts of things, and it's very hard for them to pay attention to what's happening. So I usually let them run around for about 10 minutes, or sometimes I let the owners walk them or have them run for about 45 minutes before the shoot, so they're kind of tired by the time they show up. So, and that goes for kids too. I'll make sure the kids take a nap before they show up to the photo shoot. Otherwise, the whole shoot can end. So I'll just quickly scroll through some of this. Later on, when we actually start shooting, I'm going to focus in on something like this. I do a lot of headshots. So I'm based in Colorado. I did live in Los Angeles for a long time, but and so this, I get quite a few headshots, and for me, in my opinion, headshots is kind of one of the more easier ways to break into the industry and to start making money, because everyone really needs a good headshot for their LinkedIn, for their Facebook, for their social media. And they're relatively simple to light, and they're pretty simple to do, so it's one of the easier ways to kind of get started and to start building your business. So I'll be showing you that. Shooting outside and shooting stuff like this, where there's a lot of prop and all that, that's a little bit more difficult. But this is a great way to get started, is through headshots. So that's my nephew. And he wanted his own headshot, but he wanted something very different. So he came up to me and he asked me if he should punch himself in the face and to start bleeding, and I thought he was joking, but he wasn't, and he actually went into the bathroom and did that, and he came out, and I loved it, so I took a picture of him, but his mom was very mad at me. So, but he did get a great shot. My family loves being photographed, and so sometimes the boys, I have a bunch of nephews, sometimes they compete with each other to get the best shot. And so all of this is in camera, so I do very little post. So the clouds did actually look like that. Wow. This was shot in San Diego. And the way we light, I make it so my lights are brighter than the sun. So I'm able to actually bring down the sky to make it look like it's later on in the afternoon.
You're asking like, wait, that wasn't fake blood? No.
Yeah.
Nothing
Everything
in post.
is the real deal. So I'm a little bit more old school. I learned on film, and I kind of learned to try to get as much in camera as possible. So, so I do a lot of events as well. This is for a fireman's calendar. I bet the ladies will like that shot. This was backstage at Fireman's Fighter calendar. And then, let me go into my personal projects though. Should I go into that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this is the latex series that I wanted to talk about on the first day. The reason why I want to talk about this particular series is because this was one of the first photographs I had taken when I was in school. Once I learned how to light, which was about the second year into school. I shot this in the house that I was living in Los Angeles. So this is a real person. Her name's Alejandra. She's from Canada. She's a fetish girl, and she brought this outfit with her. So this particular outfit's about 8 different latex pieces. And the reason why I have to use women from the fetish world is because they can barely hear, they can't see, they can barely breathe. And so it can become very dangerous, and it also can become very scary, so you can't really use a real model because she would probably not be able to handle this outfit. So my concept was to take these fetish girls and them in more domestic settings and then light them commercially, so that it was kind of more of like a fun take on this world. And when I started shooting this work, I started putting in a portfolio. I was still in school, and I went out to New York to show the portfolio. And I wouldn't say this is the most, it's not the best lighting, and it's not, you know, the best image they've ever seen, but it was a memorable image for these photo editors. And to me, it's very important that if you want to break into the industry, you have to have photos that people remember. It doesn't exactly have to be the best lighting or anything, but people really like a series.
Well, Jan says she's so scary, and Kenya really loves it. So.
Right here.
You can be scared.
Yeah. Was she scary?
This woman, was she scary?
Yeah.
No, so these women are actually, a lot of them have become friends of mine. These women are amazing. They're super nice. This is Victoria, she's from London. Now, not all of this is latex. This is just my little personal folder, but no, these women are great, and they're always down for anything. I mean, this woman literally is on the edge of a cliff, so I have 2 assistants hiding. One's right here behind this rock, just in case she falls, and then the other one's right here. The helicopters, again, are in camera, so we were shooting right by army base, a military base. And I couldn't have even thought that up. I mean, it was just perfect timing because it actually makes the image look like it's shot nowadays when really, if without the helicopters, it would have looked like it was an older image. So this is all latex. And so a lot of these shoots, I would rent out the whole entire motel. Oh. And so that cost me quite a bit of money. I just didn't really care about the money. I just really wanted to make, you know, the project keep going. So that was all my student loan money. I don't know if I really recommend it, but yeah, because you have to pay it all back. So again, all of this is really well lit. So I started really getting into lighting when I was in school, and the classes can only teach you so much. So I would just jump into the studio and just practice with different modifiers. I'd pull different students into the studio. I would, you know, I kind of started training myself on how to light. So anyway, so the whole point of this series was to kind of get a lot of attention, which it did. And so when I went out to New York and showed my portfolio, I went back to school, so I was a senior in school at that point. And my first job ever was for Forbes magazine. So they remembered the latex work, and I was labeled as like the latex girl, and then they ended up hiring me for a business assignment. So it doesn't really matter what you're shooting, just make it memorable, and then people will end up probably hiring you as long as they remember you. So this is a real outfit. This is all done in camera as well. This is Kumi. This is a very difficult outfit to put on. So this is a latex mask, and then we blow up a hood around her, which takes about 15 minutes. So, are there any questions I should answer? I fell out of my chair.
So maybe you want to explain what's the plan for today?
Okay.
Yeah.
So the plan for today is I was going to show you how to light something like this. Let me see here. So I do a lot of business portraits. And let me pull up a headshot. This is the one I showed earlier. So I'm going to show you kind of how to light something like this and how to pose a person who probably has never really gotten a professional photo taken of themselves. And just like a quick, simple, beautiful lit portrait of someone and make them look like the best versions of themselves. And again, it's just a headshot, but you'll be surprised. A lot of people really don't know how to do headshots well, so that's what I'll be showing you today. So it's little tiny things that make a pretty big difference for the final portrait. So
cool. Maybe we can explain what is the contest again, one more time?
Sure.
And see if they want to participate. So yeah, we can run the video. So today
awesome.
The theme is portrait photography, so it's perfect. So make sure in Lightroom CC to duplicate your picture so you keep the original one, and then you can start use all the settings to improve the light, the color, just make the picture you want, and then you can jump to lightroom.adobe.com, which is the web version of Lightroom, where you can create a public gallery to share with us the before and after. So this is what we will see at the end of the show, Marla. Okay. Before and after, what they can do in Lightroom with portraits.
And you'll pick a winner.
And you will
pick a winner?
Yeah, you will pick your favorite before and after.
Okay.
And to submit the link that is generated by Lightroom, just go on bit.ly/submit Adobe, and all the rules are in the contest tab if you check just next to the chat on behance.net/live. Okay?
Can I answer this one question that I saw?
Yeah, sure.
I think it was a little bit...
What was the question?
It was, what light modifiers do you like to use for outdoors? I like that question because when I shoot outside, so it definitely depends on where the sun is. So if you're shooting later on into the day, and the sun is softer and there's cloud cover, you're going to want to use softer modifiers to a certain extent. Again, these are not set rules. It also depends on the final look you want, but you don't really have that much competition with the sun, so you can go more into soft boxes. You can do, you can turn down your power so you don't need the lights to be so bright. Now, if I'm shooting something like this and it's bright and it's about 2:00 p.m., I'm gonna use silver modifiers, and I'm gonna use deep dishes like a Magnum or a Deep Beauty dish, because the silver is going to reflect more light, so you have more competition with the sun, so you can actually compete with the sun. So depending on where the sun is in the sky, that will kind of help you choose which modifier you should use. So, yeah, I like that question. Yeah.
Cool. Should we go to the studio?
Yeah, sure.
And start? Okay.
All right.
Okay.
Terry, see you in a bit.
See you in a bit.
Yeah. We'll just take a picture, okay?
Yeah, just one.
Perfect.
Okay.
All right, guys. So they're heading over to the studio, which is not far. See, we're there already. And they're actually going to do a live shoot, and then we will come back and post-process whatever it is she captures.
Yep. Camera, Marla?
Yeah.
Here. Perfect. See the chat. Okay, so if you watch the first video, studio setup has changed a bit. You want to describe what you did already?
Okay.
In terms of setup. And Sam, this is Sam.
Hi.
This is Sam, she's part of the Adobe Live team. And she will be our model today.
Okay. I'm not holding
Hi,
like
Sam.
this is actually when I put my camera
Hi,
on. I'm
everybody.
just trying to find my camera. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, hold on. So if you guys are wondering what I'm putting on, this is a harness that I had made. These things,
Oh, it's custom?
Yeah, these things are awesome. Yeah, so this is custom. I was just really tired of having a strap around my neck and kind of looking a little dorky. I wanted something kind of cool, so I got this custom made. So you just, and then you can also do 2 cameras at once when you have one of these harnesses. Let me think of the company in a second. They're amazing.
It's nice, huh?
Yeah, it's super cool.
Right, and so it's kind of nice because then you can just have it dangling right by your side, and then there's an option to put a camera.
2 cameras?
2 cameras on the other side. So I do shoot weddings, and yeah, like a gunslinger. So, and they have a bunch of different types, but this is kind of what all the wedding photographers are using now, especially if
really?
they want to shoot with 2 cameras.
So why would you get 2 cameras? So you have 2 lenses?
So you have 2 different lenses.
And you don't switch between the lenses?
Yeah, because then you have to run all the way back to your bag again and switch lenses. So
Efficient.
yeah. So
Awesome.
this, I'll think of the company name now and let you guys know what it was. Okay.
Okay, cool.
So setup wise,
So yeah, what is this?
so this is a seamless that I like to use. It's called Arctic White. It has a little bit of a blue tint in it. So in post-production,
Cold?
yeah, it's cold. So there's different kinds of white. So when you choose your seamless and you choose a white, you got to find out if it's going to have a little bit of a warm tone to it or a cool tone, depending on what you want. This has a cool tone to it, so in post, I can pull out some blue, a type of blue that you just can't get unless you use Arctic White. So, and then we have a hair light right there. I don't know where. If
Yeah,
you can
there is
see it.
a... Yeah, I can show you.
Yeah.
So that's the hair light?
So we have a hair light right here. So I usually, when I do headshots, I do 3 lights. I use a hair light, a background light, and then a main light. And then if the person, depending on their face, they might want to need a 4th light as a fill. But otherwise, I just use a white board like this.
Okay.
So, okay. So we're going to do some tests. We didn't really do any tons of test lighting shots, so.
No. For the moment, no. We just installed the 3 lights.
Yeah.
And that was it. Yeah. Again, if you have any question, feel free. I'm looking at the chat.
Yeah. Okay, so Samantha, I'm going to have you step up to this piece of tape. Now, I told Samantha to wear a top that was going to be kind of distracting. So before I do my headshots, I always send a list to my clients of things to wear and what not to wear. This is something I would not want them to wear. This is super distracting from their face. The headshot has to be pretty simple and clean and just focused on their face. So if they showed up with this, I would be a little bit bummed. Even though it's a really cool sweater. And then let's fix your, yeah, let's just turn that around.
We have kind of big earrings too.
Yeah. Okay, so let me do a quick little test shot and just let's see where our lighting is at. So
right up here?
Yeah, and then let's angle your body a little bit. Yeah. Oh, so the main light didn't even go off, did it? How can I see what I'm shooting?
Here.
Yeah, so
I
there's our
think
headshot.
something is missing.
So the main light
Maybe
is
there's
not
something
on.
to fix.
Yeah, there's something to fix. So actually this is good because sometimes you do want to just start. So usually I would be completely ready by the time my client showed up. So this would actually be my assistant. So we wouldn't be finagling all this stuff if my client was standing here. But so this just shows the background light. And what I usually like to do with the background light is kind of create like a little gradation. So this is actually a pretty good gradation.
Yeah. Do you want to keep working just with the backlight?
Yeah, let's do that. That's actually good that not all of these went off.
Okay,
because
so
I forgot. So let's start with layers. So I think, what do you guys think? Do you think that gradation's good?
Yeah, what do you think about the gradation? There is a 10-second delay. So
Oh,
do you
a
like the
10-second delay?
gradient? Just one light on this white paper, Arctic paper. Do you think it works? Could be improved?
Rob Zilla's in the
know.
chat.
Like, go Sam, go!
Woo!
Godzilla.
Remember
Say,
I
yeah,
did
sure, go for it.
Warrior guy.
What?
Derek likes
He
it.
did the warrior
Yeah.
illustration.
Oh, okay.
Okay, they like it. I think it works.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to stick to this gradation. And again, I would be doing all of this with my assistant. I would not have my client standing here waiting for me to set up all my lights. But so we're going to start off with the background.
She's very patient.
I'm patient.
So you guys make sure you're all set up before they show up. Let's do the hair light real quick.
So was it on?
Oh yeah, it is on.
Yes. I just got it.
I just looked straight at it. But let's turn it up.
Up.
Yeah, tell me what number it's on.
Check. Okay, it was 1.2.
Okay, so let's turn it up to about 6. So, because she has such dark hair, she's going to eat up a little bit more light on her hair.
Now we're at 6.
Okay, so let me take a shot of that. And again, the main light is not going to go off. I'm just going to...
Yeah, it's off. The main light is off.
Yeah, so I'm just going to show kind of what the hair light's doing now.
Good. Just on a step by step.
So you see that slight little light hitting her hair?
Okay, it's coming. Oh, yeah.
Okay. So I actually
Even the
want
face. Now we start...
a little bit, yeah, because the light is bouncing off this whiteboard. So a little bit of it is bouncing into her face.
I see.
So I actually think I like it raised a little bit. You see how it's not really hitting the top of her head?
So
The
you want to
hair light?
raise it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's raise that a little bit. Just a touch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here.
A little bit lower. Yeah, and then kind of go this way a little bit to your right. Yeah. Okay, let's try that.
Okay. Okay, let's see if it's better. Oh yeah, you get more light.
A little bit more light. Okay. And I like how it's hitting her sweater.
Oh yeah, good point.
Yeah. Okay, so let's turn on the main light.
Okay.
So I am using a Profoto beauty dish. There's different modifiers you can actually
That's a
obviously
beauty dish.
use. Well, it's not really a beauty, it's like a type of beauty dish. So the reason why I use this is I shoot a lot outdoors, and this particular beauty dish can fold up, so it's super compact, so you can just put it in your backpack. I actually usually use Profoto B1s because you can use them in the studio and you can use them outside. So we try to keep our stuff pretty compact. So at the end of the shoot, I'll take this down and I'll show you guys how small it can actually fold into. Because most beauty dishes, you cannot pack them up.
Oh, I see.
Okay, so I'm keeping this silver because she could actually handle silver. So silver is a little bit more poppy. But just in case it's a little too puppy, I have my white little soft thing.
I see.
So, I forgot what you call these. Okay.
Diffuser or no? What's that?
Diffuser, people call all sorts of names. Hold on.
Softener.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
let's do a quick little test.
Sam, let's see if you can handle silver.
I think I blinked.
Whoa.
Okay, that looks good. Let me just turn it down a little bit. Okay, so this is pretty side lit.
What do you mean?
So it's a little bit too maybe off to the side. I personally like it, but I think for a headshot it might almost be a bit too artistic, I guess, or like it needs to be a little bit flatter lighting in my opinion for a headshot. So let's move this over a little bit. Okay, and then let's extend this out. Let's get another sandbag.
And then one
on that
here,
leg, yeah. Okay, so let's see how this looks. It's a little bit more frontal on her. And then I don't know if you guys can see this, but this is a fill board. I usually
So
bring
it's
a
just
fill board.
white cardboard, right?
Yeah,
Nothing.
it's just, you don't have to spend a lot of money on it. You can just go to the art store and get a piece of whiteboard
Okay.
and then put it on the chair in front of them. And then this light and that light will bounce off of here just ever so slightly and it'll go into this area. And so especially if someone, you know, has like a very defined chin and whatnot, you're definitely going to want to put some fill in there because it'll probably cause like a shadow. So usually I just kind of keep this on the shoots. So,
Okay.
okay. I am getting all tangled up. Alright, so
smile?
I usually tell them to angle their body, so you never really want people to stand like front like this to the camera.
Okay.
You always want a little bit of an angle. So the more angles you can create on someone, the more flattering it's going to be on them.
That's
So,
good.
Yeah. Right there.
And Ella, you submitted an edit. Thanks for sharing. We'll redo the edit with Terry in about 1 hour. Okay.
Okay, so I think we're gonna need a fill light on her. So you see that shadow that's on her chin?
Yeah.
Or on her
shadow.
neck?
Yeah, on the neck.
Yeah, so I think we need to fill that a little bit.
Okay.
So let's get a fourth light out.
Okay.
I'm just gonna show them the difference. And the other way we can kind of fix that, let's say you don't have a fourth light, you can just kind of lower this light a little bit, and then I'm gonna have you push this back. Actually, let's keep the fourth. Let's put the fourth light away because most people are not gonna have a fourth light to do it.
Okay.
So
So where do you want to go? Really front?
yeah. So this is another way where we can kind of start working with that shadow on the neck. Because usually when we do headshots, we only have 3 lights. I do have more lights than that, but we try to keep it pretty simple. Okay. Okay.
Is my hair okay?
Yeah, they have one little curl there.
All right. Keeps coming back. Should we do it again?
Hold on, it's coming.
Okay, hold on. I'm actually going to move this closer to her to get a little bit more fill. Okay.
All right.
Now angle that body again. Yeah, so you see how that, so the shadow is starting to get filled in slightly.
Mm-hmm. Someone's mentioning, what about a clamshell lightning on women?
A what?
Clamshell?
Clamshell.
Yeah, a clamshell lightning.
A clamshell.
White on top, white on the bottom.
Oh,
This?
okay. We can do that. So I was going to bring out the fourth light, but I'm just trying to kind of keep it simple because most people are not going to have 4 lights. So I'm just trying to show ways.
So using the feel.
Yeah, I mean.
No, using this. I mean the.
Yeah, if you're starting headshots, I mean, sometimes people only have 2 lights, so you have to figure out ways to fill it in without bringing out another light. And one of the ways to do that is to change where your lighting is set up and to put one of these bounce boards closer to them. So if you're not getting that fill, just move this bounce board in closer and closer to them. This is just a headshot, so you won't be able to see this anyway. So you can, sometimes I literally have them hold it right underneath their face. Yeah. So depending on their bone structure, if they keep getting that shadow, you can literally just have them hold the board right underneath their face, and for sure that shadow will fill up. We can do a test shot of it if you want. You can take that tape off. So look at it now, the shadow. I mean, now I actually like the shadow, but now she holds this right underneath her face. And let's angle your body again. Let's do the other way.
Okay.
Yeah. That shadow's going to start to fill in.
It's coming.
So,
yeah.
So it starts to fill in. So this is just a quick, really easy, cheap way to kind of get that fill in without pulling out another light. So now if I was doing like a fashion shoot or one of my latex shoots, I mean, sometimes we use, or a magazine shoot, sometimes we use 5, 6, 7 lights, but you also have to think about your timing too. You don't have a ton of time in these companies to do headshots. A lot of times they want you in and out really quickly, so you have to put something together very fast. And you can't be too much of a perfectionist about it because people have to get back to work. So yeah, right? I'm just kind of being very particular about it to show you guys how to do it. Okay, so this is broad lighting, so you can see that most of her face is towards the camera and it's being lit. But let's do the other way, and I'm going to show you short lighting, where most of her face is actually not going to be lit. And most people, I think, look best in short lighting versus this. So. And we can look at the before and after.
Yeah, Terry, if you can switch. Sure.
Now the light is kind of frontal on her, so it's not going to be a huge difference, but it's ever so slight. Right? So most people's faces in short lighting is going to look a little bit thinner, and it's going to have a little bit more of a defined look to it. So broad lighting, their face is probably going to look a little bit wider, and most people don't want to look a little bit wider. They want to look a little bit, skinnier, so you would use short lighting.
Donald is asking you, what are your camera settings for this test?
So I'm shooting at 7.1, ISO 100, and the speed is at 100.
100, okay.
Which I should actually maybe make that maybe 1/60th, but you can get away with 100 because you're using strobes. So, and then I'm sorry, I meant to switch my auto white balance to flash. The color's now going to look probably a little different. Let's see here. Let's see if it looks a little, or maybe it won't. Maybe it's the same one.
Here we go.
Yeah, so it's just a little bit.
The color balance is different.
Yeah, it's just a little warmer. Let's see here. So I actually think I want a little bit more gradation on the background too. Like, so if someone wants like a plain white background, but to be able to get that blue that I was talking about, you have to have some kind of gradation to it. Otherwise your background just looks like a pure white. Okay. And people kind of like a little bit of that tone.
So how do you add a gradation?
So
what should be the trick?
Yeah, it is tricky. What we can do is we can raise this up and point it down. So raise this higher.
The big one? Okay.
So actually, let's bring it down, and then I'm going to tilt the light down.
Okay. So you want to...
Yeah, so tilt that down. Not that much. Yeah, like about there.
Okay.
And then raise that up.
Full.
And then let's raise it up like this.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Ooh, that's pretty high.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's very dramatic. Okay.
All right.
Let's see how that looks. We'll just kind of play around with it.
Right or left?
Let's do this way.
See?
Okay. I guess there's really not that much of a difference. I do like that though. In post, this is going to come out. So all the dark part, like the bottom part, that's going to turn more blue. So
so it will create this.
It's to create kind of like a, and a lot of times I do go more dark to light, but I do like the light to dark, especially with her hair, because her hair is really going to pop from that light. So from the light part, the top part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this looks good.
Cool. And Ryan is asking, do you also use sometimes a tripod for headshots or always a freehand?
I do. I use a tripod, and I'll talk about the angle. So Samantha, how tall are you?
5'4".
5'4". Okay, so usually I'll use an apple box. So I'm 6 foot, but I do recommend if you are around 5'10" or shorter that you bring an apple box with you on your shoots, because people are going to look better from more of a higher angle. That's why everyone loves selfies so much, because it's just so I'm going to shoot Samantha actually from, you're going to hate me, but I'm going to shoot you from a lower angle, and then I'm going to shoot her from a higher angle. And I'm going to show the difference, because you will be shocked by how many people shoot headshots from eye level or below. You always want to be above their eye level. So if they're 6'4", you need to figure out a way to try to get I just so happen to be 6 foot, so I don't run into the issue too much. But if I'm shooting someone who's 6'4", I will take this apple box and I will stand taller on it, and I will make sure that I'm at least a little bit taller than them. Sometimes you can't do it. I mean, if they're 6'8", I mean, what are you going to do? But so I'm going to, so let's say I'm the same height as Samantha, so I'm not using an apple box or anything.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you what happens to it when you shoot someone eye level or a little bit lower.
Turn?
Yeah, same exact. Now, she's so pretty, it doesn't really matter. I mean, I could shoot her from the ground and you'll still look good. But I just want to show you like a difference what a slight little angle can make. Now, you don't want to go too high because you don't want their headshots to be a selfie angle either. And then angle your body again. Perfect, right there. So let's do, if we can put them up side by side maybe. Is that possible? And show just what, right? And just show what that slight little angle is going to do.
Okay. Can you move the trigger button? Oh, thanks.
This was, I can't tell which.
Smiling, you were above.
Was I really? Okay.
The one on the left was the last one.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
okay.
it's from above, and this one is
Yeah.
yeah, I can tell.
See, you look good in both. It's hard to kind
Yeah,
of. It's like you're like too perfect for this example.
No.
Or something. Okay, I'm gonna get a little bit lower. Hold on. Okay, so angle.
Do you want me to stand up higher?
No, it's okay.
Put
So
me in the
angle
box?
again. Perfect, so like that. Okay, so this is low. And then let me do one angle again.
All right.
I'm gonna do one a little bit higher. Bring the chin down a millimeter. Not that much, go up a little bit. There you go. Okay. So let's pull those up.
This is low. Here you can see.
Make the right one a little bit closer. So it's like the same sizes. So yeah, you will really see a big difference.
Maybe you have to crop the.
Yeah, you have to crop in or something. But anyway, you definitely you definitely want to be a little bit more than eye level of the person, always. So the best purchase you can make when you start shooting headshots is an apple box. And they're like, I think they're like $35 or $40. You can buy them off of Sammy's and B&H, and just carry it around with you everywhere. So yeah, you can kind of see the difference here. I mean, she looks absolutely beautiful in both, but I think the right one is definitely more flattering. for a headshot. So, and I don't know if I mentioned it, but I did tell her to wear a sweater that was very distracting, because you do not want your clients to be wearing distracting clothes. You want them to be wearing very simple clothes because it's all about their face. And so I do send them a list of things of what to wear and what not to wear. So I told her to bring something that wasn't appropriate. So I am actually going to have her eventually change into a different outfit, and then I'll show you something that's more appropriate to wear for headshots. But yeah, I think this is good. Let me shoot you facing the other direction.
All right.
Yeah.
For like this way?
Yeah, and let's see what you like better lighting-wise on your face. Okay. Now when I do headshots, I have them face different directions, and then they can choose which one they like the best. Perfect, stay there. Okay, and then let's flip to the other side.
All right.
Perfect. Okay, so let's pull those two up.
My hair is so large.
That's how my hair gets too in photos.
Kent wants to know what lens you're using.
Okay, so I'm using an 85, and which I usually use for headshots. And I am going to show you guys what happens to the face when you use different lenses. But I'm going to do that once she puts on the appropriate outfit.
Okay, so maybe we can ask the chat which one they prefer.
Yeah.
So do you prefer left or right? Yeah, we'll see. And after Marla, you will tell us what you prefer.
Okay.
With your professional eye. Okay. So which one do you prefer, left or right? Just type it in the chat. And remember to be active in the chat, by the way, because we give away posters in about 20 minutes. What F number?
Oh, what's my f-stop?
So Neil,
7.1.
7.1. Not 0.2, huh? So. Okay, we have a vote for right. Right.
Really?
Wow.
Okay.
Left. Left is coming back.
Going against the grain. Usually it'll be.
I liked the left.
Yeah.
Left. Okay, now it's more 50-50. Right. Looking towards the future. Hard choice for Rob.
So the reason why I'm on 7.1, I wouldn't go down
Left, right,
less
right.
than that, because then you're running into a dangerous situation of some of their facial features not being in focus. But I also don't want to shoot her at f22 because I don't want to show the creases and the seamless behind her. So once you get to like f14, f16, f22, you really start to show kind of the seamless, like the details in the seamless, and you don't want that in your headshots. So you want to keep it around 7.1. So you can maybe go to f10, but
So right started like very strong, and now
Yeah.
I feel like
and
it's
left
a tie.
came back. Left came back. So they were voting right, and at the end they were voting left.
I mean,
left,
she
left,
looks
left.
good in both. It's like a hard,
Yeah, it's hard.
yeah. Okay, so I'm actually going to have you switch into
Okay.
the other shirt that we discussed.
Green, burgundy.
Let's do green.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll have a little bit of downtime. I'm going to have her switch.
Maybe you want to show, because I have a weird face, like from lower and higher angle. I
Yeah.
think it will show up with my face,
Okay.
because it's really bad.
Not true.
You will see.
Okay. So
Can
you
do
guys,
it.
I'm going to show the angles
Yeah.
again on his face.
Yeah. Don't be scared, okay? Don't leave the live stream.
Okay.
Okay.
So how tall are you again?
Sorry?
How tall are you?
I don't know.
5'8", 5'9", 5'10"?
5'9".
Okay, so I'm gonna go a little bit lower, angle your body a little bit.
Like this?
Yeah, and then chin this way. Okay.
Like, oh, chin.
No, towards the camera.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
there you go. Okay, so I'm making him about an inch, 2 inches shorter than him right now.
Mhm.
Okay, and then I'm gonna do an inch and 2 inches.
I don't move. Huh?
Yeah, don't move. I'd be going a little bit higher.
Okay.
Okay.
Is our camera still connected?
Ah,
Oh, did I fall out?
let me connect again.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, we have to do it again, sorry.
Okay.
Or maybe it will sync.
Do you want me to do a test shot?
Yeah, we can do it
No,
again.
we went to the car.
Yeah, let's do it again.
Okay.
Okay, so tick, tick. Okay. Got it?
Very serious.
Yeah.
You're
I don't move.
smizing.
I don't move.
transition a little bit more this way. Not that much. Go back. 1, 2, 3.
Okay. Ah,
So let's.
much better.
Yeah.
Now you feel the difference because on the first one I look like a mess.
So let's put them up side by side.
Come on, Terry.
I'm on it.
Yeah, it's just amazing to me how many people shoot from a lower angle on these headshots. So this is why I'm bringing it up, because it's just it's just a big no-no.
And I have to say, I'm making exactly the same facial expression.
Yes.
Like I didn't change anything.
Yes, you're.
It's crazy. Huh?
Yeah.
I look happy on the left.
Terry,
and,
is there any way
depressed
we
on
can
the
bring
right.
up that right one so it's similar in size?
Not without them cropping it manually.
Yeah. Sorry, I'll next time I'll try to get exactly. I'm not on a tripod, so.
Just here we go. Oh, less now.
I do like the lower one of you too. It's like a hero angle. You look, so if I shoot for magazines, so when I'm shooting for magazines, depending on the subject, I'm not saying you can never shoot from a low angle. I'm just saying for general headshots, generally speaking, you want it to be from a flattering angle. But I shoot a lot for ESPN, and when I shoot sports players, I'm going to shoot them from a lower angle because it's a hero angle. It makes them look more powerful, more tough. They can get away with it. So there's no rules to it. I'm just simply showing you kind of some general rules for just classic business headshots. So, but I actually really like the left one too, just not for maybe
Depending on the article.
depending
Depending on
on
what I did during the week. Yeah.
Yeah,
Some weeks I'm heroic. I'm a hero and
yeah,
I can use the left one.
yeah. So maybe, which one do you like?
I like the one on the right actually.
Yeah, so the one on the right is definitely more classic,
More,
but
yeah.
the one on the left actually has a very editorial
Yeah.
feel to it.
Yeah, it would be.
So again, if I'm shooting for a
For
magazine.
the New York Times, I would use the one on the left.
Yeah.
Use the left one.
Yeah, but for your LinkedIn, you'd use the
LinkedIn?
right one.
Exactly.
Yeah, or for your online dating profile or whatever. So.
But it's true that it makes a huge difference. You know?
Yeah.
Same light, same face, but two different angles, and you can really see the difference.
I actually do shoot a lot of people for their online dating profiles, so that's why I mentioned that, because I do shoot them from more of like a flattering angle like that, because it's for their profile online, so yeah.
Do you do some analytics? Like
Huh?
they increase their number of dates by 15%?
Oh, they do. If you have a professional shot online dating, there's a whole business out there for professional photographers to shoot online profile shots for people who are on Match and for eHarmony, so yeah. And you do get a lot more hits if you have professional photos. So, okay, so Samantha, let's bring you back.
Sam, are you back? She's green.
Green.
Okay, so let's bring you back on that piece of tape, and let's flip to the other side. I think it's the one people liked.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you now what the green looks like compared to that lovely cheetah sweater.
Is the hair okay? Where should we put it?
Oh, so this is actually a good point. A lot of times I do bring a mirror on my headshot shoots because women do want to check their hair before the photo. I do have a mirror with me. It's a little tiny, just compact mirror. I got it at Sephora. It's free.
I can use the live.
Yeah, because, you know, a lot of times we won't have a computer right here, but bring a little compact mirror for the women because they do want to check their hair before you shoot.
Yeah. It's very dirty.
That's okay. Well, from this angle, would we put this side forward or this side forward?
That side.
All right, this side.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I don't want you hiding your face.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, and then I do, well, now I'm starting to spin in all different directions. So hold on, let me just do a shot real quick, and then I'm going to show you guys something real fast. Perfect. Yeah, so this green is great.
Okay, let's see the green. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it's simple, it's classy, it's not going to distract from her face. And I do, again, I email whoever's in charge. So a lot of times we do like 80 headshots in one day for a company. So whoever's ever in charge, I will email them a whole list of things that people should wear. And I'll tell them sometimes to bring even a couple outfits to choose from. It depends on how much time we have. I do want to show you guys something real quick. So I'm going to have you step back on that tape again. Now this happens more with ladies who have straight hair, but I'm going to have you angle.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you get like these little holes behind their neck. I'll show you real fast. Let me see if I can create one.
Can you see through the other camera? There we go. Show the holes.
So I'm
okay.
purposely creating like a little hole right here. This happens with ladies' hair all the time. So it's little tiny things that make a big difference in people's headshots. And sometimes it's subconscious. People don't know why they like their headshot or not, but it's little tiny things like this. So I'm going to take one picture. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys that I created a little hole, and this happens a lot with women's hair. See that little hole by your neck?
Yeah.
So if I see that, I usually see it with just my eyes before I even take a picture. I'll just have my assistant go over there. I'll come over and angle your body again. This way. I'll just fill that hole up, because that to me is subconsciously very distracting. So I can't really see. Michael, how is it from the front?
Sorry.
Did I feel it?
Is it filled?
Yep, it's
We
filled.
can just
Yeah?
shake it.
Can you?
You want me to shake?
No. Just tilt or the side that you use for the picture.
All right, that side.
Yeah. So especially if girls have straight hair, a
That's
lot
it.
of times they'll put their hair in front and then they'll put all their hair in the back, and then that hole gets there. So you just fill that up. So you just kind of pat it in the back and you fill it up. Okay, and now I'm gonna take another shot.
You say that you had the Beyonce look on this one.
Oh,
The
I like
Beyonce
that. Yes,
Beyonce.
Beyonce. Rob.
So let's do it before, if we can pull up a before and after.
Yeah, Terry, can we do a before after, please?
I'm just gonna, it's just a small little tiny difference, but these are all the little tiny things that, and then if I had more time I would have fixed that one part of her hair that was kind of sticking out a little bit, brought that down. So, but you see how better the second one is?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's less distracting. It's better. Yeah.
Yeah, and I also would have fixed that hair in the front too. So usually I have my assistant do it, because then I stand right here and I look. So women's hair, it's very important. You have to make sure the ladies look really good. So, and they'll appreciate you for it, and then you can start charging a little bit more money for your headshots when you start paying attention to all these little tiny details. So, and then we also usually bring a lint brush to the shoots, and we'll lint down their clothes as well.
Oh, okay.
So as much as we can fix in camera, the better. And then there was another thing I was going to talk about, but I forgot what it was. Let's actually move this light a little bit over. Oh, I wanted to show the before and after with the leopard sweater and then this shirt. Yeah, like just to show how distracting the leopard sweater was. Anyone is fine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So you guys can really see, like for a classic headshot, you really want to kind of stick with the more, you know, plain colored shirt. You don't want them to use any pale shirts, because pale colors will wash out the face. So that's like the #1 thing, is no white shirts, no pale pink, no baby blue, none of that stuff. So, okay. So let me, sorry, let me do different lenses. It's getting hot in here, isn't it?
It is.
I like it though, because
We're-
you're getting shinier
we're
and
heating
shinier.
it up.
Because tomorrow I'm going to show what a makeup artist does to help with some of the shine that's happening on her forehead, some of just the natural oils of the skin.
Sam will be back. She will be back tomorrow.
Yeah, so we're going to end with the shot that we like of her, and then we're going to show before and after.
And someone's asking, how do you get rid of the shine?
Yeah, so
And
we
Sarah,
will
tomorrow.
have a makeup artist tomorrow if the budget allows for it. I always bring one on set. And a makeup artist especially helps with people who are bald, because they get really a lot of shine up here. So we use a lot of powder. If not though, I actually don't do my own post-production, my own retouching. I send it out and they can get rid of it. But it costs money, so. Okay, so I'm gonna do different lenses. So Sam, you can stay right there.
All right.
Michael, will you hold this for me real quick?
Sure.
Are there any other questions that I have?
That's like two.
Two blurry ones.
Let me see if I can do a little long lens.
Do we need to adjust any of the lights?
Yeah, we can play around with the lights. I was going to show some different lighting tomorrow, but I can definitely. Okay.
The worst assistant. Oh, sorry.
Okay, so I'm going to try different lenses and show you guys what happens when you start
Sneaky
switching
Terry.
lenses. What do you say?
We had a picture of Sneaky Terry work.
Oh yeah, that's funny. So the only problem with these harnesses is they do get tangled up. So
With what?
they get tangled up. Once the camera's on, it's hard to kind of,
Yeah.
especially when you have two cameras. So I just remember the name of the company. It's called Holdfast.
Okay.
Holdfast.com. And this guy makes all different kinds of harnesses. It's amazing. Okay. And they did not pay me to say any of that. I just like his brand.
It's just good stuff. Okay.
Okay, so I am going to use a 24, which you definitely do not want to use for corporate headshots. But I'm going to show you what happens to the face.
So it's a fixed.
Yeah, so these are all fixed
24.
lenses.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
Actually, maybe I should go on a tripod here. I'll try to stay. So I'm going to actually have you hold the lenses so I barely have to move.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Okay, getting a little bit closer. Actually, no, stay right there. I'm going to get closer to you. Okay.
Very close.
Perfect. And then let's do a 35. Am I still attached? Yeah. Okay.
5.
That should be the 35.
Yeah, let's go this.
And then grab that. And you can take this guy. Oh, you know what? I accidentally hit my f-stop. So this happens, you guys. I should have had this on lock. So there's a little function back here on your Canons. I should have turned that on, because what happened is I hit my f-stop by accident, so these are coming out darker than normal. Yeah, that's better. I need to go, okay, so we have to start over. I have to go back to the 24.
Okay.
And then Terry, is there a way we can bring all those up at the end?
Oh, yeah.
To show the different lenses?
Great.
Yeah?
Terry, you can do it. Okay, so 24.
Okay. I'm going to try to stay at the same exact angle. I'm not on a tripod, so. Okay, so this is the 24. Okay, and then let's do 35. Okay. Perfect. And then let's do 50. So this is just the 35. No, that should be, that's an 85, so that should be a 50. What does it say?
24.
That's 85. So what's that one? That should be a 50. Yeah. Okay. There's a lens cap. Perfect. Okay, and then let's do the 85, which I was originally on. And then I'm actually going to have you grab my long lens. That will be the next one.
What side? Okay, sorry.
Okay, it's 85. Perfect. And then this is the long lens, which usually I'll use these for my portraits, sometimes outside. In the studio it's a little bit harder because we usually don't have a lot of space, but. Perfect. But if you can get away with shooting with this long lens, it's really pretty. Okay, so I think that's all the lenses, so if we can pull those up side by side. Let's go back to 85.
So which one was the one you did?
1, 2,
Yeah,
3,
I just shot
4.
one shot of each lens.
Yeah. The 4 previous ones.
Yeah, so we just shot with 5 lenses.
5, sorry.
And I just kind of wanted to show you guys what it does to the face. So you can see how it's just, the first 3 just really aren't appropriate lenses to do headshots with. They obviously work great for other stuff, but it's going to make the face a lot wider. They're just going to look bigger. Like, it's just not a flattering angle at all. It's just not a flattering lens. So you always want to use either an 85, in my opinion. I mean, you can maybe get away with the 50. A lot of people like the 50 lens a lot, which is the third one. So that's the top right. So if that's all you have, if that's the only lens you can get away with the 50. Yeah. But if you really, really want to get into headshots and make it kind of an important part of your business, you have to invest in an 85, in my opinion. Okay. You can also use a 24-70, which is not a fixed lens, but I like to use fixed lenses. So, and then the last one is a really pretty lens. So that was my long lens, and that one is, I don't even know what it is. It's a 70-200. So if you can get away with that lens, it looks pretty awesome. You can see the difference in the bottom two. So, which one do they like?
Yeah,
which one do you prefer? 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? In terms of the shape, you know, like what it creates for the face. Like number 3, 4.
Yeah.
4 is the 85.
Yeah.
4, 4, 5, 4, 5. Yeah.
So some people like the 3. Okay. Yeah, so the fourth one is the 85, and then the fifth one is the long lens. So actually, when we do a lot of family shoots outside, I will have a second photographer with me. He also acts as my assistant, and he'll shoot with the long lens, and it creates some really, really nice portraits. So it's an investment. I think it's about a $2,500 lens, but yeah, it's all glass.
And the 85? It's about
the 85. I can't remember how much the 85 is. But if you don't want to invest in the long lens, you definitely should invest in an 85 if you want this to become a kind of a big part of your business. And also, if you're shooting a lot of families, an 85 is what you want to go with. The 50 is pretty basic. A lot of people love using their 50, and that's all they'll shoot with.
$400 or $500, I think. The 50 by Canon, no? It's not super expensive, I think.
No, nothing's under $1,000 in photography, it seems like.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was talking about
if something's under $1,000, you got a pretty sweet deal.
They have a 50, you know, like which is like 1.4.
Oh, really?
Aperture. Yeah, Canon.
I swear, every lens is like at least over $1,000. So, yeah, it's an expensive business to get into for sure.
So, Shikar for the light reflection. So tomorrow, actually, we will keep working with Sam, but there will be a makeup artist. So you will see the difference that makeup artists can make, you know, directly on a picture, and then it will save a lot of time in post-production if you invest in the makeup artist. So, so tomorrow, what's the name of the makeup artist?
So her name's Heather. She used to work with me when I was in Los Angeles. She's a good friend of mine. Yeah, I mean, the whole thing for me is, especially learning all of this on film, is what I'm starting to see with kind of some of the new photographers coming out is they're constantly saying, oh, we'll fix it in post, we'll fix it in post, we'll deal with that in post. And the thing is you're not getting into photography to sit in front of your computer for 15 hours a day to fix stuff that you could have easily done while you're shooting in camera. So I feel like that's what's happening a lot with some of the younger photographers, is they're not thinking about shooting in camera when a lot of us film people did, because film was so expensive. So I do think, I mean, I didn't get into the photography business to sit in front of my computer all the time. I got into the photography business because you're freelance, you can have a social life, you can travel, you can do what you want, and you won't be able to do that if you keep hanging out on the computer all day trying to fix stuff. So these are easy fixes, these are little tiny things. I'm just trying to show you guys to kind of save you some time in the post. So what we'll do is I'll choose my favorite image from today, and then we'll have the makeup artist tomorrow, and then we'll kind of compare and see. But yeah, all that shine and stuff like that, most of that will go away with the makeup artist, and then you can also fix a little bit of it in retouching. But shine is kind of hard to fix in retouching, so in my opinion. But I farm my retouching out, so I don't do my own retouching. Okay, so I guess we can now go with the lights. What time is it?
Cool. Yeah, it's actually 12 p.m.
12. Okay, so at 12:30 we'll go to Terry and do post.
A bit before actually, like 12:15.
Okay.
So we have like 10 minutes, let's say.
Okay, so I think actually I want to do a little bit more of a dramatic light on her. I think this is a little bit too frontal for her face, but not as dramatic as we had in the very beginning. So let's just Actually, and I also want to show, so this is silver. Let's put that sock on,
Yeah.
this white, and let's see if that kind of, let's say you don't have a makeup artist and you don't have, those oil blots are great. You can buy them at Sephora. You can always hand them an oil blot for them to tap their skin. But that's okay, you can keep it there.
Okay.
Yeah. But if you don't have those, then what might cut down on some shine, if you're using a silver reflector, is putting one of these socks on.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to soften the light. It's not going to have as much pop, but it might be a little bit more nice. Okay, so let's see if that makes any difference.
Okay, Sam.
All right. Same.
Yeah. Bring your chin a little bit more this way. Yeah, there you go. And then angle a little bit more. Don't go the other way. Yeah, bring your back shoulder towards me.
All right.
Sorry. There you go. Perfect. Yeah, so that just kind of cut down on the light. So it just made it a little bit softer. Most people will use soft boxes for their headshots. I like a little bit harder light. I just feel like it's a little bit more dramatic. So I'm actually going to take this back off. Okay. And let's also play around with the angle of your body.
Okay.
Okay. So we're going to move this light over just a touch. Did we already? I can't remember. Let's move it over just a little touch.
No, we didn't move it actually.
Yeah.
Do you want to move it where?
Just a little bit more this way.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So it's just a little bit more side light on her. And I'm actually going to do short lighting on you. I know most people like the broad lighting, but I'm going to do short lighting on you.
Okay.
So let's
This
flip to the
way?
other side. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. And then chin this way. And then...
Crazy piece.
Yeah. Do we have that mirror? Yeah. Let's have her do her hair before we shoot. So, and that way they feel more comfortable with the headshot and...
It's just, the curls are just crazy. All right.
Okay.
It's okay?
Let me see. Hold on. Wait, stand there.
All right.
Okay. And then don't move after I do this.
All right.
All right, chin a little bit more this way. Perfect. Stay up there. Okay, so we got a little bit of a hole. So go look this way again, and then don't move. Don't look at the computer.
All right.
We have Cameron in the chat who's trying to make money. He was mainly a hobbyist and family friend photographer, but would love to do photography full time. So, what would be your advice, like if you want to start really making money, becoming more visible, you know, start into the photography business?
I think, well, this is why I'm showing headshots, is
Yeah.
because this to me is one of the easier ways to break into the industry, is doing headshots. A lot of people want to do fashion right away and shoot supermodels and go to Paris, and it's like, all right, like, I mean, if you can do that, but this is one of the easier ways, and really you could get away with shooting headshots with 2 lights. I would invest in a third if you can. Invest in one of these, invest in an Apple box, and then you pretty much have, and then a seamless backdrop stand, so you can put seamlesses up. So 2 lights, Apple box, a whiteboard, and then seamless backdrop stand, and then you basically have your headshot kit. So, and then you can start breaking into that. And in terms of becoming well known, I would join like a networking group. So there's BNI, there's a bunch of different networking groups that are local, and you can start doing the headshots of people in that group, and then word starts to spread. For me, it took me about 5 years to get my business rolling. So I would say that's kind of 2 to 5 years. 3 to 5 years is kind of when you start making money. So in the first couple of years, I wouldn't be surprised if there's some kind of loss, but that's kind of typical. So okay. All right, beautiful. Okay, so now, how do we get that shadow back? Hold on. Okay, so my shadow is back on her neck. So that's because we moved this light to the side. So I'm just going to move this a little bit closer.
Okay.
Sam, I'm going to have you go back to that spot.
All right.
And then actually, I'm going to lower this light just a little bit. Now, the shadow's not that big of a deal on her neck, but ooh.
Just a bit.
Maybe right there.
That has the same.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. Okay, chin a little bit more this way. There you go. Yeah, so with her face, the side lighting does create kind of a shadow on her neck. So, let's see here. I would probably pump in a fourth light if you do want to kind of do the side lighting. But I don't know, do you guys think it's distracting? I think it might be okay, but let's have you hold this right underneath your neck.
Okay.
Yeah, so she has such a defined chin that that's what's happening, but a lot of people, this lighting it wouldn't. Okay, bring your chin more this way. There you go. Yeah, so that fills it. So you can see Michael's holding the board right underneath her face, which is going to make quite a bit of a difference.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so again, I was going to think about putting a fourth light in there, but you can just get away with it with one of these big boards. Make sure it's a pretty big board. It's not going to really make a difference with a small little tiny sheet that you find, like a piece of paper or something like that. You need a big white board. They're like $10. So, okay, so I actually will just have you hold that because I think I do like it better maybe with less shadow. So I'll go like this. Okay, so now I'm going to do one of her just frontal towards the lens. This is another big boo-boo I see headshot photographers do. Bring your chin down a little bit. And they just put the subject straight on towards the lens like this. And this is not going to be the most flattering angle for people. So, hold on. Again, she can get away with it. So it's like I'm trying to show major differences, but Sam looks good every way. So
No, I see. This looks like a mugshot.
yeah, so this is frontal, and you'll see a ton of head. Oh my god, it like drives me nuts. I'll see a ton of headshots like this.
For the DMV, it's good.
Yeah, you do not want to go frontal like this. You want to create little negative areas and angles, and it thins people out and makes them look better. So now I'm going to do the angle again. So go back to where we were. So I'm going to angle her, and then chin this way a little bit, not that much. Go back. These are millimeter movements. You want to tell the millimeter movements. So perfect, like that. And then usually when I do a headshot, I'll just have them keep moving. So I'm just going to blow through a headshot how I would naturally and not say anything, okay? So angle a little bit like that, chin this way. Okay, and now bring your back shoulder more towards me. Your back shoulder, your right shoulder.
All right.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
There you go. And then chin a millimeter this way. Perfect. Beautiful, stay right there. And then I'm going to do one where you cross your arms like this. And then I'm going to have you lean forward towards the camera just a little bit. Not that much. Again, just a millimeter.
Okay.
Yeah, there you go. And then chin a millimeter this way. Perfect. Stay just like that. And now lean forward again a little bit towards the camera. Beautiful. That's great. Now right shoulder a little bit more towards me. Perfect. Chin a millimeter this way. And then big smile right there. Gorgeous. Bring your chin up a millimeter. Perfect. And now move your shoulder back again like that. And then chin a millimeter this way. Beautiful. Stay just like that. And then big smile right there. Gorgeous. Okay, and let's do a couple from the other angle. Right. So I'll always shoot both angles on people.
Do arms?
No, let's bring your arms down. Perfect. And then actually, let's put your arms on your hips. Even though I can't see your hips, it changes your shoulders. Put both. Let me just see how that looks real quick. Okay, now back shoulder more towards me. Your left shoulder. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Chin up just a millimeter. And now bring it down a millimeter. There you go. Let's bring your arms down. Gorgeous. Big smile right there. And then bring your chin a millimeter this way. Gorgeous. And now let's cross those arms for me. And then lean forward just a touch. There you go. Now left shoulder more towards me. Yep. Bring your chin a millimeter this way. There you go. Big smile right there. And now lean forward just a touch. Perfect. And then big smile. And then one last one. Chin a little this way. And then big smile for me. Gorgeous. Okay, so that's kind of quickly how I go through a headshot. It takes like, what, that was like a minute?
Yeah.
And that's how most people, that's all they really have is a minute. So, and I'll just do little tiny millimeter movements because all those little tiny movements make a pretty big difference. And then I'll shoot both profiles. What do you, what was the question?
No, they said I'm always posing.
That one's a great one.
Yeah. So these are just little tiny movements. Again, I'm a little bit taller than her. I'm maybe about an inch taller than her. So, And then she's always at an angle, and then that leaning forward part is also kind of a flattering, it's like a power pose. So I'll have them lean forward a little bit. Now some people like one profile of their face better than the other. Like I'll only be photographed from this side of my face. And here's a little trick. So most of the time when people part their hair, especially women, that's the side of their face that they like, because they subconsciously part their hair so you can see their face better on the side that they like. So usually when you see someone with a part, they're probably gonna like that part of their face better. But I'll shoot them at both angles because a lot of people do like one side better than the other. And then also we're talking about short lighting versus broad lighting. So when most of her face is lit up, it's called broad lighting, and when less of her face is lit up, it's called short lighting, and that makes a big difference too. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Should we move to the
Yes.
editing room? Okay. I will document everything so we have the same setup tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
We need to write down all the numbers,
Okay, I will.
and we won't be able to get it probably exact. But can I pull this now out of the camera? Okay. What?
Okay.
Yeah?
Awesome.
So Terry, should I come to you?
Yeah.
That would be great.
Yeah. Okay. Got my water. I'll hit that.
Welcome back.
Oh, I need my glasses. I'm getting to that age where. Okay.
All right. So let me just give everyone a little technical update of what's going on, and then we'll get to the point where you're going to make some selections.
Yeah.
And then maybe even some editing.
Okay.
All right, so while they were in the studio shooting for the last hour or so, every shot she took was basically being tethered into Lightroom Classic CC. So we're in Lightroom Classic CC now. That's where we're doing all the side-by-sides, the survey mode, just doing all the comparisons so you can see everything. However, when she was shooting tethered, she was also shooting in RAW, so I see that these all came in as CR2 files, which is Canon's native RAW format. And so there are 69 photos in her folder as it stands right now. But what I'd love to do is get these into Lightroom CC. Now they technically are already there because when I turned on the tethering feature, just like I did this morning, one of the abilities you have in Lightroom Classic is to not only tether to a folder, which we did, but also tether to a collection. So I tethered to the Marla Day 1 Portraits collection, which is also synced to Lightroom Mobile or Lightroom CC. So the only downside to that is that when Lightroom Classic does the syncing, it only has the ability to sync smaller smart previews. So smart previews are great. They take up less space. They sync fast. You have an unlimited amount of smart previews that you can sync with the photography plan. Great. But if I really want those high-res files in the cloud, what I want to do is just simply re-import this folder into Lightroom CC. So let's pop over to Lightroom CC, where we have the same album, which is the same collection that we were shooting to. So they all ended up here. They're all here. But if I were to click on one, like this last one, and look at the info, it says that locally, there's only a smart preview, and also in the cloud, there's only a smart preview. So what we want to do is we want to convert all of these to the raw version so we have the full resolution. All right, so how do you do that? Basically, all you have to do is just simply re-import the folder. So if I click Add, and I go to that same folder that Lightroom Classic created, the Marla Day 1, and I can just go ahead and select all of those and say Review for Import. I want them all, so I'll just say Add these 69 photos. And the progress bar goes really quick because they're already kind of there. They're already in the folder, they're already there. Now what will start happening is the syncing will happen of the high-res files to the cloud. But we don't have to wait for that because we've got them locally on our desktop as well. So if I were to click on one of these now and look at the info, it will tell me that, oh, now locally there's the original file. I see the original high res now. I don't have to worry about working with just a smaller smart preview. And ultimately, once these all sync, it will say cloud original file as well. So again, we don't have to wait for that. We can get to the selection process. Let's hide that. And let's go ahead. Oh, we want to get to your album, not the whole thing here. Let's go to Marla. There we go. And they're already in the order you took them in. So the first one was where you're setting up the light, I assume. And the thing about these test shots and shots where you're just like testing things and getting the light set up and the light wasn't even turned on for the first couple, you have to ask yourself, do I really need to keep those? So do you need those?
Nope.
Going to use them for anything? Going to sell them to a client?
Nope.
All right, so what we would probably do is all the way up to the first one where there was actual real photo there. We're just going to go ahead and hit the letter X to set those as rejects. In other words, we're going to delete those. We can delete them now if we want to, but we're going to delete those at some point so they're not taking up extra space on our hard drive. They're not taking up cloud space in our 1 terabyte of storage. They're just gone because we're never, ever, ever going to use them. And that's kind of the rule as a photographer. What sets you apart from a professional photographer versus just a person with a camera is that you can make that hard choice. I used to make the joke that a professional photographer, or two people go to an event and take photos. The amateur takes 100, the professional takes 100, the amateur gets home and shares 101. The professional shares 10 or 15 or the 20 of the best.
Right.
They're not sharing the whole thing.
I can't even imagine sharing all the photos.
Right. So
yeah,
that's what separates the pros from the amateurs.
Right.
Aside from getting paid.
Yeah.
All right, so with that said, now that we kind of set the stage, you want to go through them? Mm-hmm. All right, so what we're going to do, I'll bring these up, and yep, we can, because there's a reflection on this.
Yeah, there you go.
Just to tilt up some more. How's that?
Yeah, that's good.
All right. So we can use keyboard shortcuts to reject, pick as a flag. We can, or I'm sorry, to pick as a pick flag, to mark as reject, or give it a star rating. So again, this is like when you were literally just setting up.
Right, and she has that leopard sweater on,
right. So you want to just skip the leopard altogether?
So we're just going to go straight to...
straight to the green?
The green.
Now, okay, so here's the important question. Do we keep the leopard sweaters? In real life, not
no, not in real life. I would not keep the leopard sweater.
So those would all be rejects because that was really for teaching purposes to show you what not to do.
Yeah.
So again, in real life, now in a classroom situation, sure, you might keep them again to use as an example to show what not to do. But in real life, we would go ahead and mark those as rejects as well. All right, and we don't need these. Mark those as rejects. Okay, so now we can get to the first green one here, which is there.
So I think these were the ones where the shadow was a little distracting on her neck.
Okay.
So
we're gonna jump ahead.
Yeah, we're gonna jump quite a bit ahead.
And this is where you're doing the lens testing.
Yeah, so that's where we're doing the lens testing.
Well, we know we could jump to the end. That's where the good ones are because that's where you got everything dialed in.
Right. That's where I actually did the shoot.
To save time, let's start there.
Yeah, these are great.
Okay, so I'm going to go backwards.
Okay. No.
All right.
No. So just so you all know, I do a pretty tight edit.
And also tell us why you're saying no. So like pick out the things that are making you say no.
So what I'm doing is I'm kind of already doing a comparison to this last image.
Okay.
Which I do really like a lot, and just immediately when you toggle.
So we're gonna hit sorry about that. We're gonna hit pick flag for that one.
Yeah. So immediately when you toggle back and forth between, let's say, this image.
Or that one.
Yeah, I mean, already I know that the last image is better, just based off toggling between the two of them.
Really, you've already kind of defined the best shot. Now you're going through to see maybe there might be a couple more.
Yeah, to compare and contrast. So if you give your clients a lot to choose from, they are going to feel so overwhelmed. They will thank you for it, for you editing down. A lot of times I do edit with the client sitting right here, but if you don't and you send them a link with a password to show all the images, they will love you if you edit it down for them. So quite a bit. And then the third one I didn't choose because she wasn't smiling big.
So this one?
The one,
this one here?
Yeah.
Oh, third.
I mean, that might be a nice option, but just based off what we're kind of trying to achieve here.
Okay, so this question comes up a lot because you said sometimes you'll do it with the client sitting there.
Yeah.
What if the client says, I really like that one?
Yeah, I know.
What do you do when that happens, or if that happens?
I'm not going to push them very hard in certain directions. I will just kind of guide them to kind of lean towards one direction or other. If they really like it so they don't want to have like a big toothy smile, then I will say this is great. I mean, this is not a bad image at all. I just think she just looks a little bit more serious, but I definitely feel like she looks very powerful. So if that's kind of what she's trying to portray, then that is a great shot.
So you kind of say, well, if that's what you want. You
yeah,
know?
I mean, and a lot of times my clients, so my headshots include 2 retouched final images. If they want to order more, they can. And a lot of times they will order based off the feeling of the image. So they won't order all big toothy smiles. They will order something like the one that we just saw plus a smiling one. And they'll use it for different things. Like the big smiling one will be for her LinkedIn. Maybe she'll use this one for something else. So they will kind of end up ordering a few different shots. So,
okay, great.
Yeah.
And
so we will keep that one.
Okay. I talked you out of it. All right, we're going to unreject it. We're not going to make it as a pick, but we're going to unreject it.
Love that one.
Yep. Oh, you love that one?
Yep.
Okay.
So usually when I do my first edit, I just blow through them. I say yes, no, and then as I get closer and closer to tighter and tighter edits, then I'll actually take more time thinking about it. So the first edit, I just say yes, no, yes, no.
Got it.
Yes.
Okay. Actually, we'll go ahead and mark that as well.
No. That one I feel like is a little too angled.
Got it.
No. Too angled, I think. No.
Well, yeah. Some are pretty easy to figure out.
Yes.
Okay.
No. So the reason why I don't really like this one is this eye to me, her right eye doesn't really have a catch light going on.
Yeah.
So I don't
So
really...
yeah, if you look at that, it's kind of dark in there compared to the catch light there. Okay. So we're going to reject that one, which I think we did already.
Nope.
All right.
No. Well, I mean,
it
adds some variety, so why don't we just keep it just so they have some variety to choose from. Sometimes what I'll actually do too before I send it is I will keep an image that might not be perfect just so they have something to compare the perfect one to. So they're like, oh, I definitely don't like that, so I really like this one. So sometimes I'll keep a couple in there that I don't. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I want to point this out because it was driving me crazy a few seconds ago because my brain is still in Lightroom Classic CC where pick is the letter P, kind of makes sense, and reject is X, but in Lightroom CC, the pick is actually the letter Z, so Z, or you just have to think, you know, if you're using Lightroom CC, that one keyboard shortcut's different.
Z.
So Z or X, and that's nice because they're right next to each other, so it does make it go faster. All right, so which one was this?
So I am going to keep this one just so she has some variety to look at.
Okay.
Even though that's not the one I would choose. I actually like that one. See, that one would be good for like a dating site. That's a hot. I like that one.
All right.
Her expression. That one's cute. I like that one.
Cool.
No, a little too squinty. I like that one.
Oh, got it.
I like that one. That shadow's starting to bug me on her neck.
Okay. Yeah, we're getting back.
Yeah, we're getting back into that
territory.
shadow.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so the shadow's a little too dark on her neck. This is when we move the light. So I think the next few ones are going to be like that. And then we get back more into the frontal lighting before we move the light.
That.
Yeah, so all of these, the shadow's too much.
Reject. Reject. Reject.
So I do see a lot of headshot photographers doing this, where they'll keep that shadow on the neck, and to me, yeah, that's just because the light is too high and too much to the side. So, nope. So all of these are gonna be. So here we filled it in again, so I like these better.
Okay.
So let's keep that one.
Cool.
No. I like that one. Like that one. No. Yeah.
Why is that a yeah? That sounded like a debate.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a debate.
So whenever I hear a photographer pause like that or debate, there's something they don't like, but then they're debating, can they get past it, or if it's something that can be corrected.
The reason why I was debating is that shadow, again, to me is kind of bugging, but I do really like her facial expression.
Okay, so that overruled it.
And again, like, I have to remember, like, as a photographer, I'm so neurotic, so I'm looking at the lighting, but a lot of times the client, like, is like, oh, my face looks great, what do you mean the shadow on my neck? So I'm trying to kind of...
And by the way, everyone you photograph will see something in that photograph that they like or hate about themselves that you, as the photographer, would have never even noticed.
Right. Yeah. So you can. I mean, so it's very difficult. Like, you have to not be so neurotic as a photographer, because that is a great shot of her face. So I have to be like, okay, she'll really like the shot of her face. Is it worth kicking it out just because I don't like the shadow on her neck?
Okay.
So now definitely not.
Nope.
So now the shadow's too much, and I think this is yeah. So I think we're at the end of playing the.
All right, we can just go through and reject. And you could do multiple ones at once. I'm going through one by one, but if we knew that all of these were bad, we could just go ahead and select them all. All right, I'm just going to go ahead and select all of those and reject them all. Now, once you've done your picks and rejects, when you go back to grid view, you'll actually see them, like, because the rejects will be dimmed out. Those will be the ones that are darker now. And the picks will, of course, have the little check marks by them, or the ones that aren't picked will still be brighter than the ones you rejected. So at this point, you could filter on the rejects, and you can say, you know what? If I marked it as a reject, I marked it as a reject for a reason. So it's time to say goodbye. If we were on a reality show, this is where they would get the final whatever parting gift, and they would be escorted out of the building. All right, so let's go ahead and now we can say remove, and that will remove them from the album, but keep them in Lightroom. That's kind of like the cowardly way out, because you're saying, I'm not sure, I don't want to get rid of them. Be sure. If you're not sure, then don't mark it as a reject. So I am sure. I'm going to go ahead and right click on these, and I am going to say delete, not just remove. So it's saying, is in Lightroom saying, are you sure? You're going to get rid of these 30 photos. They will be gone from good from all devices. Are you sure? Yes, I'm sure. Oh my God. Yes, they're gone. So that what that does is, like you said, that helps the client, because the client's not having to look through all the ones that you knew were bad right off the bat. And it also helps you, because now you're only looking at the ones you like. You're not looking at the ones that were just okay, or maybe the ones just okay, but the ones that were really bad or bothered you are gone. So now you can concentrate on your favorites.
And I'll say one thing, sometimes when we're shooting, so I usually have an assistant or a digital tech where we're going straight to the computer. Sometimes he will delete bad images as we're shooting, so the client will never see those shots by the time they come over to our computer and sit down. Because I'll tell you one thing, like, if they see a lot of bad shots of them, like, they'll blame that on you as a photographer for not making them look good. So you just want to delete those shots as you're shooting so that they never see them in the first place.
And another thing, if you leave a shot in that bothers you, that will be the one they pick every single time.
Yes.
So
yes.
If it bothers you, don't even give it to them as a choice, unless they demand it.
Yeah.
Or they're insistent.
And then also I do tell them while they're looking at the images, so I do retouching on all my headshots. Again, I farm it out, so I have people who retouch it for me. I do tell them when they're looking at the images, let's say we don't have a makeup artist, I'll say, don't worry about the shine, don't worry about the hair frizz, all that kind of stuff. And I always say, we will make you look like the best version of yourself. And they love that. For whatever reason, it's a very like kind of soft way of saying that the final image will look a little bit better. I just said they'll look at the best version of themselves. We'll take away all the blemishes, the shine, all that kind of stuff. Because I do get a lot of people who sit down with me and they're like, oh my God, I'm so this, I'm so that. And it makes a big difference.
I kept one of the leopard just for reference, but normally that one would be gone. And I kept the bad lens choices as reference, but normally we'd get rid of those too. Okay, so now we're down to the keepers.
Okay.
And you kind of really like that last one.
Yeah, maybe it's because it was the first shot that I saw, but yeah, I do really like that one a lot.
All
Her
right.
hair looks great. I look at the hair looks perfect.
So we got about 19 minutes, including the contest. So why don't we start the editing on this one?
Okay.
And then we'll have you look at some contest entries for you to pick a winner.
Okay.
And then we'll kind of wrap up for the first day.
Okay.
All right, so I know you said you don't usually do the retouching, so
I'll direct you because
Yes.
I do tell them what I want
okay,
retouching wise.
what do you want?
Yeah, so retouching wise, I will diminish. So she's totally gorgeous, so she doesn't need a lot. But I'll get rid of the shine for sure. Any little tiny hair flyaways. But with her hair, it actually looks really good. But you see the little hair flyaways on the top of her head?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
We'll get rid of some of those. Her teeth are totally white, but a lot of times, if their teeth are just a little bit more dull, I'll have my retouchers whiten it just a little bit. So it's such a fine.
The teeth are perfect.
It's such a fine line between whitening it too much, and then they start to look really fake.
And that goes for everything. If you lighten eyes too much, if you whiten teeth too much, if you brighten anything too much, it can be extremely obvious.
Yeah.
Especially because you're brightening it zoomed in, and when you zoom out, that's when you can really tell that you overdid it.
Yeah. And then again with her, she doesn't really have bags or anything like that, but if they do have deep bags under their eyes, we will diminish those just a little bit.
And I like what you said, diminish,
Yeah.
not completely remove.
Yeah, not completely remove.
Because if you completely remove, then it looks fake.
Yeah, and then they look like 30 years younger, and that just looks weird. Like, you don't want them to, you want them to look like the age that they are, because a lot of people should do their headshots like every 2 years, and they've obviously gotten older and they've changed their look, so you want them to look like the age that they are, but you just diminish the wrinkles just a little bit, or the bags. A lot of times I'll also fix skin tone. So like a lot of times people's face will be redder than their neck, like their neck will be yellow and their face will be more red. I'll match those colors up a little bit more as well, so it's a little bit more even. And then hair flyaways and all that kind of stuff.
All right. So you're giving me a lot of direction, a lot of room to run with.
Yeah.
So I kind of, and a lot of what she said are a lot of things I would do anyway. So I appreciated the confirmation that I'm doing kind of the right things. All right, so first and foremost, I do as much as I can while I'm in a non-destructive workflow. While I'm in Lightroom CC or Lightroom Classic, I do all the things that I could do in Lightroom Classic or Lightroom CC before I would head over to Photoshop, because then that way I have a non-destructive original to refer back to if I ever need to. All right, so we kind of covered some of this morning, but for those of you who missed the earlier session, let's go through and let's talk about one of the first things I like to do in optics. We'll do it first in optics, is enable lens correction. What this will do, especially on when you don't have an optimum lens choice, like you were talking about the various ones, and you said some shoot with a 50 and some, but you prefer an 85 at minimum and a 70 to 200 preferably. If you're shooting with one of the lenses that's not optimum, the lens correction can definitely make a big difference, because it will help take out some of that bending and bowing that makes the face look bad.
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so you can just simply enable lens correction. Now, again, she's shooting with a good lens, so it didn't make a huge heck of a difference. I'm turning it on and off. It's not making a big difference at all. But if we go back to one of those other ones, I think it was this one, where look how her face is protruded on this shot, because that wouldn't be a very good lens to use for portraits. But see how it kind of pushes it back in a bit? It's not going to make it night and day, but it can certainly improve the shot if you're not using an optimum portrait lens. All right, so that would be the first thing I would do, is just make that lens correction. And the reason I like to do that first is because sometimes, based on the lens correction, it will also tend to lighten the image a little. And if I've gone through the process of getting the image just the right exposure, and then I click that and it lightens it, then I got to kind of start over again. So that's why I do it first. All right, so now that I got that done, the next thing I would do is, you shot this on auto, I think you said? Auto white balance?
No, I shot
Flash.
this on Flash, yeah.
That's right. So I could choose a particular white balance, leave it as shot. I could try auto, or I can use the eyedropper. Now, because there's no gray card, normally if you know you're gonna do this later, you'd have the person hold up a gray card so that you would be able to white balance off that. In this case, since there's really not a whole lot of gray in this image, I'll attempt to use the backdrop. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, depending on how white it is. If it's too white, it might not work. If it's got some of that gray in it, it might. And also, perfect or proper white balance isn't always attractive for portraits, because proper white balance might tend to make the image a little too cold, a little too cool, a little too blue, and you want skin tones to be warmer. All right, so if I come down here and click, see that to me messed it up. I kind of preferred it back the other way, so this is not going to give me what I want, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. And I could always come in, if I don't like the white balance from having it auto-selected, I can always come in and tone it too cold, too warm, or somewhere in between. But I think the white balance out of the camera as shot was pretty good, so we'll leave it on as shot because our skin tones are nice and warm. But that would be the next area I would go to look at. All right, so then I really don't have to do a lot here with exposure and highlights and shadows because she did such a great job with the lighting. And that's what she was talking about as far as making as much of the work or making less work for you by getting the shot right in the camera, as opposed to having a post-production, do a whole lot of post-production on every single shot. But because of the dark hair, I might bump up the shadows in this.
I agree. I was just about to tell him that, yeah.
So now I can play and I can go too far and then dial it back down to where she likes it. Sure, yep, you can turn it any way you want.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay, so this is where we were. And we're just gonna go up to about right there.
Yeah.
So what that single slider is doing is bringing out all the shadow areas around the side of her face to just make the light kind of wrap around even more, because like you said, the dark hair is soaking up a lot of that light. All right, there's not a whole lot more I would do, except I haven't met a photo yet that couldn't be a little bit more vibrant. So I tend to always do a little vibrance here while I'm at it. Now, of course, you can go too far, you can go too little. Usually vibrance is something subtle, just a few clicks of vibrance just to make that green sweater pop just a little bit more. Not a ton, we don't want it to be distracting. All right.
Can we make the background a little bit more blue?
Sure. Well, if we want to just make the background a little blue, then we would do that separately. But yeah, we could do that.
But like the whole image, like make it a little bit more cool.
Yep, we can make the whole image a little cooler.
Just a little bit cooler.
Let's do, you tell me when.
Go back a little bit more to warm.
All right, warm is, here, let's go back to where we started. That's where we started. And that's a little cooler.
Yeah, I like it a little bit cooler. So this is the blue I was talking about that's slowly kind of coming out from the background. Again, sometimes when I shoot, I would have a little bit more gradations. You can really see that blue and that white coming together, and you can't get this blue if you're shooting with a white seamless that has more warm tones to it. It would turn, I don't know, I don't really shoot white seamlesses with warm tones, but it wouldn't have this blue as much. So, unless you really want to change their skin color too, so,
Very nice. Yep.
So this is, again, Arctic White. I use it all the time. I love it.
Yeah, and if you did want to just adjust the, let's say she really wanted to make the background a lot cooler, but didn't want it to affect the skin tones, then we would do a selective adjustment on perhaps making the whole thing cooler and then bringing back the warm tones just in her skin with the adjustment brush.
See, I don't even know how to do that. Yeah.
All right, so
fancy.
For example, we'll undo it back to this, but for example, let's say we really went crazy on the cooling. Now she's too cool, so we could go in and use an adjustment brush, and we can set that adjustment brush on the temperature to make her warmer, and we'll probably need to adjust it. Let's go ahead and bring this down a bit, and then we can just go ahead. And that's also adjusting, I believe, the exposure on her too, so we'll bring that back down. But I'm just getting this, dialing in just this area here Don't worry, we'll bring down the exposure. And don't forget the hands or other skin tones as well. Let's bring the exposure back down to no adjustment to the exposure. And now we can adjust just the temperature of her skin all day long without affecting the background. So that's cooling off her skin, that's warming up her skin, and it's just her skin. It's not affecting anything else in the photo.
Interesting.
So you can do it either way.
Okay.
All right, so let's undo, 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 undo. I think that's where we were.
Okay.
Yep. Okay. All right, so now that I've made those adjustments, we got to hurry up because we got like 9 minutes left and we got to do the contest. So we're going to do the contest in just a minute, but just to take care of some of those things she was talking about and show you what the workflow would be like. So we got as much done here as we could. There's certain things that Lightroom just can't do that Photoshop can, and we would just simply go File, Edit in Photoshop. Now what that will do is it's making a copy of this raw file and then opening up that copy inside of Photoshop. So everything we just did here in Lightroom becomes our original. And what we're doing now is to this new copy. So a lot of people like to protect themselves by duplicating the background, so that way they have that to go back to. I don't usually do that because I have the original photo to go back to. But anyway, I did it just for people that say, oh my God, you're doing it without on the background layer. All right, so let's zoom in. And so, for example, if you're going to take out some of these stray hairs, it depends on how far you want to go. You could do them one by one. You could use the clone stamp tool. You could really start to tweak those and get those out of there. I'm using the spot healing brush, which is kind of just taking them out for me. And I'm just getting the ones that are just a little extreme. It's okay to have a little bit of flyaway hair, but just not to the point to where it's distracting. Or I don't like to see them connect either, like one go up and come back down. That's just kind of a personal pet peeve of mine. And of course we would take our time and really go around and do every single one and get it like pulled down the way we want. Now, if you want to do kind of like a broader approach, you could use the clone stamp tool, sample the background, and just simply clone them out. So that way you're kind of like giving her just a buzz cut, a little haircut there. And again, that would be, it just depends on what you want that to ultimately look like. So I would tend to do it, especially if there's not that many, hair by hair. That way I'm getting them perfectly the way I want. Otherwise, you could maybe take that approach first to do a broader edit and then tone it down to just the individual hairs. Okay. I could have also done a local adjustment just to brighten the eyes up a bit now that I'm looking at them. One of my other, you didn't mention this, but one of my other kind of pet peeves is when I see just like the little wrinkles in the clothes that are there naturally. I bring those down a bit. So let's go to Filter, let's go to Liquify. And we're going to go to the Warp tool. And we're going to just simply make our brush a little bit bigger. And we're going to use our stylus here and just kind of push that wrinkle down a bit. We don't want to push our fingers because that might look weird, but we just want to smooth that out just a bit so we get a nice clean line there. Sometimes it's easier to bring it all out to make it smoother, so it just depends on what it is. All right, and we got like a couple minutes left, so let's quickly do that. Now the shine on the forehead, that's probably going to be one of the biggest distracting things. Several ways to approach this depending on how lucky you are, depending on which tool you use. What I mean by how lucky, sometimes you can get away with a patch. This is a big shine, so a patch probably is not going to do a great job because the area is just so big unless you try to do it in smaller patches. So for what I meant by that is that if it were a smaller one, sorry, let's go here, let's grab the patch tool. Let's make sure we're not on content aware. And what I could do, and this probably is not going to work all that great, but let's try it. That's going to blend in and start removing some of that shine. Now, again, see how on that last one it did it really nice and smooth? This would take time to get this to look right, but this is one option to do it. Another option that I would probably use, since this is such a bigger spot or bigger area, is I would use my clone stamp, but I would set the mode from normal to darken. And I would set the opacity to like 40%. because what that's going to do is force you to work in smaller steps as opposed to trying to do it all at once. So we're going to make the make the brush bigger. There we go. Let's make our brush bigger. And we got our contest ready yet, guys?
Yep. Yeah, we're good to go.
And what this will do is where I'm Option or Alt clicking on the area of the skin that looks good. And then what I'm doing is, by it being set to darken, it's only applying it to the areas that are lighter than that area of skin. So again, we're rushing through this, but I'm just showing you how one of the ways to tone this down would be to take time and do it right. Now that's not blending as well as I'd like it to, so I might patch it to finish it off. But that will certainly take down the shine in these areas. Actually, I don't like that at all. But that will take down the shine in these areas. And then, like I said, last but not least, we could patch out to do more blending, to kind of make it blend in better. So this is more just a matter of time. And if you see something that doesn't look right, that means you're not done. So, would I have preferred it just use makeup so that I don't have to do this? Absolutely. Would it look better if it wasn't there in the first place? Absolutely. But if you had to tone it down, this would be one of the ways, or a couple of ways. All right, when you're done, we're not done, but if we were done, we'd save it, close it. That's going to save that layered file, and it's going to put it back in Lightroom CC right next to the original one, the one that we did. Okay, so let's look at our contest. We're over here now.
Where do I look? Right here?
All right, right there. And we're going to see the tabs across the top there. Say again? Yeah, I'm going to pull it over. All right, so what they were tasked to do is shoot portraits and show editing in the before and after state.
Okay. So this is before?
Yep, I believe.
Oops. How do I go back?
Just lift, just go up. And there we go. So these different tabs are the different entries.
Okay. So I'm looking to see how much they've done between the before and after. And that's what I'm basing the decision on, right?
Okay. Yep. You're looking at which one you like the best.
Which image? Okay.
In other words, yes, they did a lot of great work in the before and after, but also which one is the real better one.
This one's very pretty. This is pretty cool.
I like that one a lot too.
Okay. Hold on. I think I might have skipped. No.
And Laura says left was the after. The after was on the left.
Oh, okay. Wow. Very cool. Love that one. Wow, this really made a big difference between these two as well.
Yeah. And I have to scroll down to see the...
Okay. Okay.
Definitely use the adjustment brush to lighten up the face. I like that one.
Yeah, I like this one too. Is that the end of them?
That's it. You get to choose, so they can't blame me.
So the one that really sticks out to me that I loved is this one.
All right. Is that your final choice?
This is my final choice.
All right.
Yes.
So let's see who this is. I can't see the name up there. Is that by? Can you see that?
Agata?
Yeah. Agata?
Agata?
Agata, congratulations.
Yeah. This is beautiful. I love this shot.
And there we have it.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got like less than a minute left. Any final parting words? For today.
For
We'll
today.
be back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. I guess, should I mention where I send my stuff out to retouch?
Sure.
Yeah.
Not me.
So I send my stuff to a place called retouchup.com. I discovered them. They're extremely inexpensive and they're amazing. It saves me. They've changed my life in terms of saving me so much time because I used to do my own retouching.
Okay.
There are a lot of companies out there now that do great jobs at retouching that are very inexpensive. Again, you guys want to stay off, in my opinion, stay off your computers, go out and socialize, or be out on the field shooting. And the more time you can save in post, the better. So if you can farm that stuff out and send it to people, in my opinion, do it. So I'll save you a lot of time. So
Awesome.
yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. We're going to take a small break before we come back for our third guest.
All right. Thank you.
Stay tuned. We'll be back.